Hello, and thank you all for coming today. I'm going to turn my phone down a little bit so it's not quite so loud. Today we're going to talk about, it's kind of like a demo, if you will, of how I go about and talk to people, and on a daily basis. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but basically it's pretty often these days. Talk to different businesses about buying this new service I put together called Frequent Dividends, which is basically a customer loyalty program, which is also a customer marketing program. We're not going to talk about Fred today. That's what Frequent Dividends is short for. But the process of how I go about selling it can be adapted to just about any other selling endeavor. And in the past, you saw salespeople walking around with folios and pens and calculators and materials and all these different things, basically briefcases full of stuff. And of course, people even brought projectors in some cases, and some of the product samples. And I mean, it was just a major effort. The guy opens up his hatchback, and there's all kinds of stuff there he can run out and grab, like office on wheels. Nowadays, we don't have to do this at all. I know some people still do it, but it's absolutely not necessary. And me being an IT guy, I wanted the simplicity. At the same time, I wanted the functionality to be able to handle what I need to be done. Because initially, when I started doing some sales with some other products I had, a long time ago, it was one of these situations where, I'd go talk to a guy. His name is John, whatever Smith, and he says, very nice guy. He says he'd love to think about it and have me come back in a week. And today is Monday. Next week I'll have to come see the guy. And then I go talk to Mary, and Mary says that she, needs to talk to her partner before she can make any decisions. Can I come back tomorrow at 3 p.m.? And, and so it was one of these deals where if you try to write this stuff down in some kind of notebook or something, it becomes fairly quickly growing to be fairly large in terms of body of information. It's completely disorganized because it's just paper. Like any paper would be disorganized. You could try to carry, one of those day timer units and try to go based on specific dates, which is obviously somewhat helpful in this endeavor. But if you want to do something quickly and just move on, then, it's not quite that simple to do it like that. And essentially, it becomes overwhelming fairly quickly if you think, well, I talked to these 3 people, I'm going to remember it. Forget it. You're not going to remember anything once a couple of days go by. So how do you deal with this kind of situation? And one way to do it is using a CRM program, customer relationship management program. And those programs are fairly well done. There's one that I personally recommend. It's called Untitled, which you can have quite a bit of functionality for free. So, the only thing you're putting into it is a little bit of time to learn how to use it. But other than that, it doesn't cost you anything to actually use it. And then you can keep track of contacts with all the relevant information. You can keep track of activities, what you're doing, phone call, visit, whatever it might be. You can keep track of goals. They have certain goals you can set, and you can see where you're at along in terms of goals. They have a bunch of different reports. So it's fairly functional and sophisticated, but anytime you add functionality and features, you end up losing simplicity. You end up losing that, up and go type of capability, which is something I was looking for. So even though I do like Insightly in an office environment, if you're sitting on a desktop, a couple of monitors like I have here, it's very nice to use that. If you're doing nothing but sales, which I don't, this is just a little tiny portion of what I do, then it works pretty well. But if you're on the go, then you can only use the app version, the mobile version of something like Insightly. And those are usually quite a bit different than the desktop because they just can't put everything you can physically see on a desktop on a mobile device. It's too small, especially on a phone. And so you end up having to click a million times to go from here to here, and here you are in the contact management part, and then you got to jump into activities, and then you got to jump back to contact again. And it just, for me, it was too much hassle. It just was not something that was simple enough. And so then along came Google Keep, which is basically a program for management of nodes. I mean, that's the simplest way to describe it. You simply use Keep to manage nodes. And once I started looking at all the capabilities Keep had, which, by the way, we're not going to go into all the details of Keep because I've done a very thorough kind of breakdown of what Keep is and what it does in the prior Hangout. So just look for some of my other videos. You will find it if that's what you're interested in. But I'm going to still show you some of the things with Keep today because the process itself of how I do the selling using Google Keep. So, if you've never used Keep, you'll get at least some education in terms of how to use parts of it, not the whole thing, but definitely parts of it. But I'm going to definitely describe it not from the training standpoint of Keep, but from this selling experience, basically using Keep. So you take Google Keep, and of course, one of the nicest things about Google Keep is the fact that it's automatically synchronized among all your devices. So if you log in with your Google account to any number of devices and you go to Google Keep, you will have the information available and it will be synchronized fairly quickly after you make any changes on any one of those devices. So that's a key thing, that you can work on it on desktop and you can work on it on mobile. And the mobile version is slightly different. There's a couple of features that are a little bit different, but it's almost identical in terms of functionality. And the basic functionality is the same. And so I go to a place, we walk into the door, talk to somebody, and they introduce themselves, being a manager and the owner. Those are the usual the people you want to talk to because they can make decisions, or at least you hope they can. And then you have your conversation and you do your pitch, whatever it might be, whatever the product might be or service, whatever you do, and then you're done. And so then you have some sort of a follow-up situation where either they are not interested, some kind of status, I should say. They're not interested at all, so it's a dead deal, or they're interested and they want you to come back. So you'll need to put something in motion for that, to be reminded of that. And at the same time, there are going to be some comments in terms of what they told you, what you told them, some information that would be helpful. Because like I said, if you start going out, a few days go by and you just don't remember everything. You cannot remember everything that everybody told you, with all the little details about talking to the owner or talking to the partner, and their daughter was just in a car accident, and a lot of this information that you're being given voluntarily is something that definitely is very useful from sales standpoint when you come back. Because if somebody tells you that I wish I could talk to you, but I got to talk to my partner and their daughter was just in an accident. And so, it's probably going to be, give me a couple of weeks. So then you come back in a couple of weeks. Obviously, a very human thing to do would be to ask, how is the daughter doing? But to do that, you need to remember that. So it needs to be recorded somewhere, and preferably not in your mind, because you got too many other things going on. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. And the very beginning could be, for some, going out there and setting up the prospects you're going to talk to first. So you don't just go blindly into the street and open the doors. You actually creating some sort of a list, if you will, of people and businesses that you're going to go and talk to. And so the way I'm going to go ahead and share the screen to show you. We'll start with the desktop version, because for this endeavor, that's something you have, and it's convenient and useful and simple. And so we'll do that. So I have Google Keep right there, and I'm just going to go, and let's say that I want to set up a bunch of nodes related to Fred. That's the service I was talking about, referring to earlier. So I'm going to set up a label called Fred. And so if I click on Fred, just to make it easier, I'm going to segregate all the other nodes, get them out of my face, so I'm only dealing with Fred. Okay, so you can see there's no nodes there right now. And next thing you know, you can just simply click on take a node. And in the title, you usually would put the business name. So this would be like a restaurant, I don't know, restaurant Mazatlan, whatever it might be. Okay, you don't have to specify the word restaurant if you don't want to be, whatever the name of the business is, basically. You can say something like Mazatlan, and this would be a Mexican. We want to put it as a title, okay, just to give you some idea of what it is. And then for notes, I don't have any notes. There's no notes to put in because I don't know. I need to talk to them first before I figure anything out. So all I do is just put that in, and if I want to have an address for the place, I could drop it in here too, if I don't know where it is, or I want to be able to remind it. So yeah, let's do that. Let's actually do that because it'll make it nicer. So we're going to go and look for Mazatlan restaurant, Seattle or something, and we have some. So there's Mazatlan restaurant right there, and then there's a link to driving directions. So I'm going to right click on it and click on copy link address to get it, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump back to Google Keep and just simply put an address and post a link to the or directions, whatever you want to say. I mean, it doesn't either way, obviously. Okay, like that. And essentially, that's it. I mean, I don't need to put anything else beyond that because I'm going to go to it. So I don't need phone numbers, I don't need anything like that, right? And then I just click done. Click done here, and there is my note. I mean, it's as simple as that. Well, then let's say I want to talk to a real estate guy about some other stuff. And his company is called Real Estate Investment Firm, and his name is Matt Steele. House. You call Matt, he'll take care of you. This company doesn't exist anymore, but he's still in business. And let's say I know what Matt is, so I don't need to put in his address because I know exactly where his office is. So again, I click done. So you populate basically a bunch of notes like this with your game plan in terms of where you're going to go, who you're going to talk to for the next time. One of the nice things in terms of segregation of data in Keep is you can change colors easily. They have this little bar on the bottom of each node, and it allows you to set up, do different things, which will cover some of these. And as you can see, there's a little palette here where you can change colors. So the easiest thing to do, obviously, just create a new node, put in a little bit of information, and be done. So you don't change colors, you don't put any options, you're done. So you're sitting in the right category. You can see the label Fred there because I clicked on it first. So any nodes I create go directly into that category. Okay, and of course you can change it by selecting pull-down menu and going to change labels, and you can have as many labels for that particular node as you wanted. But if you actually set it up like I just did, then you're only seeing what you're working on. It makes it very convenient, very useful. Okay, so that's essentially it for prep. You put in the business you're going to go to, then you go talk to them. Now, let's say I went to go talk to Matt first, and I drove over there, talked to him. Now I want to record this. So while I'm on the road, and now I'm going to go ahead and switch back to myself, so you can see me what I'm doing here. I pick up. The only thing I have on me is my trusty phone. I don't have anything else. I don't need anything else. So if I go to, of course, you're not seeing it, but in a minute you'll see what I'm talking about. If I go to Google Keep, and if I pull down my account, and if I click on Fred, then you will see that I actually already have these exact same notes, and you can see it's exactly the same information that was there before from the desktop. So it's almost like I said, instantaneous. And so I'm looking at the same set of data, right? So I'm going to talk to Matt, and after talking to him, I take one of his business cards. And so, his business card, like any business card, little face, his information on that. So now that I talked to him, I want to record what exactly we discussed, some of the main points. And then I also he wants me to come back in a week to discuss some more or get the final answer, whatever it might be the situation, right? So the first thing I do is I only have my phone with me. So what I have on my phone here, which I recommend you do the same thing, is you can see in the middle of the screen there's a there's a link to Google Keep right here in the middle here, and then next to it is the widget. Hopefully you can see it. I should have done a screen dump on this thing. I'll put a screen dump later on. I'll put it in the but you can see there's a widget for Google Keep also, and that widget has several buttons where you can easily create notes. So what I do is I simply click on the little phone. On the little camera on the phone, and the camera then goes into the camera mode. so I can take a picture. I take his card, nothing fancy, not rocket science here. I take his card, and I simply, right in my hand, I simply have it fill the screen fairly close. It doesn't have to be perfect. It looks something like this right now. As you can see, you don't see the sharpness of it, but it's pretty sharp. And then at the top of the screen, it says OK or retry. So hopefully this is good enough. And there's a little bit of shadowing, things like that, but it's OK. We're trying to do it easily and quickly. So click on the camera, go ahead and take the picture of the card, of the business card, and then it comes up with a note with the picture in it. Okay, so I'm actually going to be creating a new note this way, and I'll show you later what to do with existing note. So in the new note, I can put in the name of the company again. I should just put in a abbreviation. And then instead of typing all the address and this and this and that, what I do then is I simply click on his picture by just simply clicking on it. So it comes up. I pull down the menu from the top right corner. And on the menu in the top right corner, you can see the options are grab image text and send and delete. And so I'm going to go ahead and say grab image text. And it's going to go ahead and almost immediately on the bottom there, as you can see. Let me see if I can get it so you can actually see it. Right there. You can see at the bottom, it actually dumped all this text in there from the card. You see that? And if we compare it, we can see it's got a real estate investment firm. So this is what the card says. Real estate investment firm. I got Matthew Steele, totally spelled out, direct, and then the phone number, office phone number, fax. Then it says office and the address, and basically everything that I need to have in terms of the text is all right there, exactly how it is on the card. I mean, I don't have to do anything, even though the picture was not perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and post this into this event. I'll post some pictures so you can see. It's not the best picture. It's got a little bit of shadowing. It's got some background stuff. It doesn't need to be perfect. Google still does a phenomenal job. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just manually edit it a little bit by getting rid of the URL at the bottom, which I don't need. Also, the email address got a little bit screwed up. I need to fix 2 letters. So you kind of take a quick peek, fix things that you don't need. If you don't need it, everything else looks good. I'm basically done. And so at this point in time, with just a little bit of effort, I took a picture of the business card. I went and said, grab image text. Now I have the information for contact of the guy completely here. And it's right there in the card, okay? Another thing that I do, in addition to that, is I change the, 1 second. Let me just 1 second. I think it's stuck in the wrong count. Cute. Anyway, another thing that I do, in addition to pulling the information, is I immediately change the color of that note to be, let's go back to screen sharing here. Let me see here. Let's go to the screen share. And let's see if I can find math here. Right there. So you can see on the desktop now, it's right there. So synchronization is perfect. And it's easier to show you what it actually pulled in. So you can see it pulled all this information here. And I got the email address here, and I got the URL for his website. I mean, everything, all the phone numbers, everything. And so at that point, if I come home, I can put the information in. But usually right on the phone, what I do is I put in the information. I'll put it on my phone, but I'll leave the desktop up so it's synchronized so you can see, because it's hard to show you the phone. Okay, but I'm going to be doing it on my phone here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put in, find this card here. Let's see if I can find the card here, right there, okay? And what I do basically is I jump to the end of the card, of the note, and I put in usually the first date. So today is 5/26/2017. and I can put in dash, and I put in, let's say, met with the broker. Good conversation. Back in a week. Okay, so just some basic abbreviations, whatever, however you want to put in terms of what transpired. Okay. In addition to that, so see, you almost immediately, as you can see on the screen, it just changed the note right there with the stuff I put in on my mobile phone, right? Another thing you can do, and another thing I do, is because you're talking about being on mobile phone, obviously talking is a lot easier and quicker than typing. Okay, and so we're trying to make it easy as possible. So dumping information for contact in there is a lot faster than typing it. And then if I wanted to make some comments, like for example, I wanted to also say, wanted to talk to partner, right? Instead of typing it on the phone, I'm going to go ahead and click on the microphone in the keyboard. Wants to talk to his partner first, period. So as you can see, or you will see shortly, there it is. It just updated. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to screen share. And you can see right there, there's the, wants to talk to his partner first, and the period. You can dictate this using regular Google Gboard, which is what I recommend you use for your keyboard. The reason I recommend that versus recommending the Google Keep's capability of recording voice notes is because Keep has a hard time stopping where I want to stop. So I wind up saying something, and then I need to think for a second or two, and it thinks I'm done, and I'm not done. So it winds up being very awkward. And then it also doesn't translate it as well, in my opinion. And then it drops all this text in there that I just supposedly said, and a lot of it is incorrect, so you have to go and edit. So once you get into that, the simplicity is gone. So the simplest thing to do, the easiest thing to do is either, if you're comfortable typing it, you type it on the phone, or you simply use the regular keyboard, the phone's keyboard, but you use the recording voice capability on the keyboard to record text that way, like I just did. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. Either type some stuff by hand, or you do that. So again, to recap what we just did, we grabbed somebody's card, we took a photo, then we went into Keep and say, grab all the contact information from this photo, which it did, and then we went ahead and both typed a little bit of text and also use the voice of the keyboard to be able to put in a comment. And that's it. Okay, so now we have all the information we need in that particular card. So let's take the next step. The next step is, as it says right there, talk to the guy in a week. Well, obviously, I need somebody to tell me to talk to him in a week because, I need some sort of reminder. And that's one of the beautiful things about Google Keep is they have reminders built in. So all I have to do is click on that little, I'm just showing you the screen dumps. At the top there, you see a little finger with a, in the middle icon there with a finger and a string, basically a reminder icon. And so if you click on it for each card, it's going to come up and say add a reminder screen. And that add a reminder screen allows you to set up a reminder for either date and time of your choice or for a place. And places are very convenient for shopping things, but for this kind of stuff, it's always going to be date and time. And so date and time, in this case, would be today's May 26th, so a week from now would be, I click pick a date, and pick a date shows me a calendar, and then I go ahead and say, okay, next week is going to be, looks like June 2nd. So I simply click on June 2nd right there. And of course, you pick whatever date you want, click OK. Then it says time default is 9 a.m. So in this case, I want to pull it down. I want to talk to the guy in the afternoon. So afternoon option is 1 p.m. or you can pick your own time. So it's totally flexible. You don't have to pre-select their own. And they even have ability to say, to put in a repeat, so it automatically repeats and reminds you every single week or every single day or every hour, whatever you want to put in. In this case, we're not doing the repeated thing. So all you do is put in date and time, and then click on save. And at this point, I have a reminder. And if I go to show you the desktop version, so you can see what it did, you can see that as soon as it synchronizes, it will show you at the bottom that there is a reminder for June 2nd at 1 p.m. I guess it hasn't. Let me see if I need to click done and see if I pull it back up again. Yeah, it shows it right now on the mobile, but it hasn't synced on the desktop yet. But it basically at the bottom, it will show you that this particular card reminder is for June 2nd at 1 p.m. So what's going to happen on June 2nd at 1 p.m. is it's going to come up and show me a notification on my phone again, saying that there is, Google Keep is telling me that I need to pay attention to this particular card. And if I click on notification, it'll take me right to this card. And then, of course, it will look just like you're looking here. So if you wanted to take additional pictures, it doesn't have to be just one picture. You can take as many pictures as you want for each card. So if you need to take a picture of some products or a storefront or back of the business card, whatever you want to do, you can certainly easily do it. If you don't really need business card, you can always take a picture, dump all the text, and then delete the actual image. And then what I usually do is I usually give the business card right back to the people after taking a picture like this in front of them. They get a total kick out of it because they don't understand why I took a card and then I'm returning it to them. So I quickly explain to them what I'm doing with the phone and everything, so they think it's pretty cool. And so again, you just take a picture, and if you want to keep it, you can grab all the text. So now we've got the text. We've got the reminder set. We've got, so it'll remind us automatically. We've got the color change to, in this particular case, since I talked to them, I'm going to change the color to, in my case, I do orange. So white, in my case, means that is a brand new place I haven't talked to yet. Orange means that I've talked to these people and it's in the work in progress. And then green means I got the business, we're done. And then red means there's not going to be any business. And so the only difference between, I have two kinds of reds. One red is in regular notes, in the area where you have regular notes. Also, Google Keep allows you to have archive of notes. So you can segregate things between current notes and the notes that you still want to have, but you don't want them in front of your face, so you archive them. And so archive is a separate place to store it. So what I have is I have two kinds of red color cards. If it's a red color in archive, that means that we're done. We're never going to talk to them again unless they call us. There's not going to be any more business with these people. If it's a red card in the regular area with all the rest of the notes, that means that I just need to get back to these people maybe in 6 months or something, and then see if there's any other kind of business with the potential done, because they said they didn't say anything in the end. They just kind of waffled, and then nothing happened. And I got tired to come back and keep asking and asking and asking. So, just a long period of time, and then we'll come back and see what's going on. So that's kind of my own. You can use your own approach, but you can definitely set up colors. You have a choice of up to 8 colors, and you can have, any of the colors can be anything you want it to represent, anything you want it to mean. And of course, again, I change colors on my phone, and you can see the color here changed, background color changed on the desktop as well. So we got everything in place. We got the notification, we got the color. Basically, at that point, I'm done with this particular card, and I just save it, and by clicking done, I'm done. And so this way, what I can do later on is I get notified, so I know I need to go back to talk to. It tells me exactly who I need to talk to. I know exactly how to contact them. In addition to that, if you look at the actual information that got stored from the card, let me just pull that up real quick. You can see that the actual phone numbers are underlined. And the reason they're underlined is because if I click on the phone number, it's going to open up a little dialog box that looks like this. And it shows the number I clicked on, and you can see the options are, if I can adjust it right. The options are call and edit. So you can edit the number, or in my case, I want to click call. So if I click on call, then it's going to go ahead into the dialer and start dialing, and then it does its thing, and Matt picks up the phone, and see, there's ringing. So anyway, I don't want to talk to him right now, but the idea, you get the idea. So all of the phone numbers automatically were dropped in there, and now they're hyperlinks, allowing me to simply click on the phone number, any of those, to be able to call that particular number directly from my phone with that amount of ease. Don't need to type in any, punch in any digits or anything. You just simply click on the phone number, click on call, and it's going to go ahead and automatically dial the phone for you. Same thing with email. As you can see, there is, well, you can't see it. Let me bring back the email. I'm going to go ahead and click on the email line there where it has his email address. So if I click on it, it says open or edit, same kind of thing. So I'm going to click on open. And then what happens is, what do you want to open with in terms of the apps? You know, I can use Inbox, I can use Gmail. We'll use Gmail to make it simple. And as you can see, it drops the, as you expected, the email address into the to field. It's got my from address. I can just fill in the subject and already has signature, say whatever I want to say, and send the guy an email. As simple as that, without typing email addresses or anything. So one thing it does using this approach, it prevents you from making mistakes. You accidentally typed in the wrong email address when you were entering it. You accidentally typed it, you know, when you were trying to send email. There's all kinds of possible problems. You were dialing the number by hand, and after 8 digits, you screwed up one of the numbers. You have to redial it again. So all these things basically go away. I mean, that's the beauty of using this kind of approach, where if you can just get the data into the node automatically, like we did with the picture, it's awesome, because there's not going to be any mistakes made. And also, it's the fastest way to get the data in there. Secondarily, you can add additional information by recording a voice, by going to the keyboard and recording using your voice, so it drops a bunch of stuff in there. If you need to edit it a little bit, you edit it a little bit, but for the most part, usually it's pretty close or perfect, you know, most of the time. And so it gets set in place. Then you do your situation with follow-up. You put in the reminder, and you change the color so you can easily, you know, see what's going on. And then from there, you just take it and you keep going, keep going. Since I'm already on the, I put it in the wrong section of keep, but that's okay. Let's just go ahead and go to Fred here. So I'm going to go to Fred. And one of the things that you can do, like over here, you can see I have this note called Fred Legend. And it simply indicates white color means a prospect, orange is work in progress, like we talked before. Blue means it's in the middle of setup, green means it's Fred client, and so on. So you can have this little legend. If you don't exactly remember the colors at first, having one card like this with a little legend is extremely helpful, because it tells you exactly what you need to select. It's available if you pin it. You can see the Google Keep at the top right corner. There's a little pin icon. So any note can be pinned, which will be, it will rise to the top of everything else. So I may have a bunch of different notes here, but only the pin notes will come up at the very top. And you just simply click on the pin to pin it, and you can click it again to unpin it. So I always have my legend right there at the top, and the most important notes right there. And then, of course, the rest of them go there, and then archive goes even lower. So if I wanted to look through, for example, my notes that are orange, all I would have to do is, I'm sitting in Fred, and if I click on search, it will allow me to select a label like Fred. And then if I select label Fred, within search, it says search within Fred. So anything I type in here is going to be looking only at nodes that are in that particular category. Okay, so if I want to type in, for example, math, and was it Matthew? As Georgia, for example. So there you can see it comes up and comes up with that particular node. What I can also do is I can also say I want to search for something of particular color. So let's say I only want to look at orange stuff, right? So if you go to search, you click on search, And then, yeah, they changed this. It used to be actually better than it does now, but they changed it the way search works. So if I click on orange here, it'll show me all the orange cards. And within orange, if I type in Fred, then it should show only orange Fred cards. Yeah, and it does. Okay. So right here, you can see I got nothing but my Fred cards that are orange. So essentially, this is my work in progress. This is different people I'm talking to, and you can see, different comments and different things what's going on. And of course, you can click on any of them to, pull them up and see more detail right there. Okay. So all of these have, like I mentioned before, the date, whatever I talked to and who I talked to, whatever was decided, and then next date and so on. And then you have at the bottom here, you have the next date and time when I'm supposed to get back to them and follow up. And so all of them have that. And so these are the people that currently are work in progress. Okay, if I wanted to do the same thing with a different color, so I wanted to go and say, show me everything that's red, and then go to Fred, and we can see that I only have a couple of things here. So there's this one red here, and the other red shows under archive. So these people said no, and we're done. And there's a history of what happened with them, and so we're basically done. And then these people here, there's still possibility of something going on, possibly, but it's kind of a long shot. So I decided to mark them red and put them in there. So using the color capability for each node, again, you get that from the bottom of the node, you're able to colorize and make colors mean something to you. And if you make that one little card with a legend on it, then you know exactly what it means. As you work with it, you'll remember it anyway, and so you won't really need a legend. But it makes it very convenient to be able to have this label and have the colors and be able to segregate information and find information you're looking for very easily. You can also just do a plain search without any kind of colors. I mean, that'll work as well. But you might have additional notes come up that are unrelated and kind of clutter up your display and stuff. So this makes it a little bit more easier. Another thing that you can do in Fred, you can do in Keep is you can also one second, I want to show you this. You can also have links not only on email like I showed you, but you can also have them for URLs. So I'm just trying to find the URL here. And so here is an example here on this note. It's a new place that's opening up. And I don't know if they have their website up yet, but let's see if they do. So if you click on the desktop version and you click and go to link, that opens up. It opens up the website automatically. And there they are right there. Right from there. So you can do the same thing on the mobile. If you have the URL in place, just doing a double tap like that, click and then open, clicking on open, opens the website on your mobile phone. And then, of course, you can close it and go right back to the node. So the beauty of this approach is that you're able to link websites, phones, for one, basically two-click access to phones. And you're able to also take links to other things. For example, Google Docs is a perfect example. You can link to collections on Google+. You can link to Facebook pages. You can link to your Instagram. In other words, you can link to anything because it's a URL. But the interesting thing about the docs, which makes it much more compelling, is you can have additional information in additional notes. For example, we talked about carrying a bunch of stuff with you. You don't need to do that anymore. You can have a presentation, and that presentation is set up on Google Slides. Of course, it's available to you as long as you have access to the internet. It's available to you directly from your mobile device, and all you have to do is have a link to it. And so when you come in, and there is the card for that particular place, and they wanted you to, when you come back, they wanted to see a presentation, so you can easily have it available as a separate card, which has all kinds of resources that you can pick from for showing people, or you can just drop in a URL of that particular presentation directly into their card. So when you bring up that card when you talk to them next time, you can just you have the link right there and exactly what you wanted to show. And so different ways, obviously, of doing things. But I want to throw in a couple of examples here of exactly some of the things that you can do, which is pretty much leaves it open to just about anything you can imagine you can do with these links in these keep notes. So you can think of a keep note as a repository of information that's linkable, using hyperlinks to just about anything out there. And so whether you want to use it for, maybe, let's say maybe you have some cards set up for contracts. So you have a nice Google Doc, which is a contract that you normally let people sign. And so you have the contract text and everything available with just 2 clicks basically on one of the cards. You can have things like maybe NDA. Let's say you're talking to people and you want them to sign an NDA agreement. Well, there you go. You can just easily use a link to have an NDA agreement present in the place. You can also have it for, like I said, slides presentations, all kinds of presentations. You can have it linked to YouTube videos. I mean, it's basically endless how much stuff you can link to. Everything that you need, you can have all your resources available to you with simple links right from that one card or multiple cards. Again, totally up to you. And so it becomes, the Keep becomes this vehicle of, it's not a vehicle, it's almost like it's a vehicle of data, but it's your assistant, because it'll remind you when you need to contact, who you need to contact. So you start up your day, open up your phone, there's all these notifications about you need to go see these people, these people, these people. You don't need to worry about it. It's one of those set it and forget it things. When you're actually at the business, you set the card up, you drop in the information, put in whatever you want to put in to remind yourself, and then you put in the date when you want to deal with this, and that's it. You set it and you forget it. You don't need to worry about it. Oh my God, am I forgetting anything? Nothing. There's nothing that's going to be forgotten. And all you need is your phone. And you do the same exact process with every business that you go to, everybody you talk to. Eventually, you end up with a list of, a bunch of these cards. And like I said, if you have some presentations or things like that, or videos, all of this is right there, easily available to you. You also, of course, you have your Google Drive, which you can populate with some videos. If you wanted, you can even include them in your emails. I mean, you have your Gmail on your phone, so you could, attach an email right there. Although it's easier just to have all your videos that you send to people available through YouTube. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Like in my case, I recorded this one video that talks about Fred, which is about 7 minutes long. It was 1.2 megabytes, which is totally easily, attachable to an email. Well, when I added the soundtrack to it, it became over 200 megabytes long, and you can't attach files that big to it. So, I put in YouTube, and I simply put in a link in the email to link to that YouTube video. So it's easily done. You don't need to worry about it. But if you had some things that you wanted to attach, then you can have them available literally with a couple of clicks. You can have them available to you. So when you think about this, it's your assistant, it's your guide for what to do, it's your hand holder, your babysitter, it's your repository of data. Everything is done through this simple little app called Google Keep. Okay, and then so after that, it's just a matter of discipline of following your notifications, adding additional comments. You pull up the card for that particular business, put in the date. If you want to do it the way I do it, you put in the date and you put in information, whatever you wanted to add based on this current meeting. And then if there's going to be a follow-up, then you put in the follow-up, and potentially change colors on the card. All of these are just little clicks, very simple. And then you're done, and basically you're done. And this way you're able to get things done without hiring secretaries, without hiring assistants, with just, like I said, simple app on a single phone. And if the phone goes belly up for whatever reason, doesn't matter what the reason is, you don't really care, because you pick up on your phone, you log into your Google account, and everything is right there like it never left. If your computer at home dies, God forbid, no big deal. You get another Chromebook, if you want to get a Chromebook, or you get Windows PC, or you get a Mac. Doesn't matter what you get. Keep is now available on Mac as well. For a while it wasn't, but now it is. And so you can get Keep on Macs, on PCs, on Chromebooks, on available everywhere essentially. And everything, like I said, is synchronized, so you don't have to worry about anything. Nothing's going to get lost. Nothing's going to be done. You just need to come up with this little discipline in the structure. If you want to follow what I'm doing, that's great. I mean, it's working fine for me. does a great job. If you want to adjust it a little bit about what the colors mean, or every entry is supposed to be with something else you want to put in, I mean, it's totally up to you. You need to set up something that you think would be easy for you and easily manageable by you, or whoever is going to be doing it for you. But other than that, Keep gives you all these capabilities and all these functions already built into it. So if you have any questions, I'm going to be, I think I'm done pretty much with the demo and the process of how I go through and how I do the selling of Fred. And if you want, you can, yeah, let's do this. I have I don't know if you ever use the service called appear.in, which is a video conferencing service. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to be, let me see, make sure it still works here before I tell you to come in. cpcs.com. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's appear.in/PCS. And I'll be there for a few minutes. If anybody wants to come in and just chit chat and ask any questions about this, I'll be happy to answer them. But basically, that's it. So thank you very much for coming in today. I hope this was useful for you, and feel free to reach out to me on Google+. I'll be happy to talk to you about this or anything else IT related. Thank you. Take care. Happy Memorial Day.